All right. We are live on YouTube. Thanks for being here. Just making sure it shows up and I can mute myself on that screen before I hit record for podcasting. Save people the technical difficulties on the recording.
Right.
Okay. We're good to go. Let me get our recording going. Hi, I'm Karin Gillen, and this is the Remarkable Life podcast. And today we have a special guest. It's Heidi Taylor. Can you tell us who you are, what you do?
I can. My name is Heidi Taylor. I'm a business and sales coach. Pardon me. I work with established business owners who their business has stalled and they need my support around their business and their sales process.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
sales. I love
Me
that
too.
I'm assuming you love sales.
It is never boring, always fascinating. You know,
Yeah,
it's all people.
right. It's such a piece of like to sell is to be human and
Yeah.
to desire things and buy things is to be human. Like it's such a we don't get through life without it.
Yeah, and I mean, we just get to be so curious,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're using a script, you don't really get to be curious, and that's not my kind of selling, but
Mm-hmm.
um, a sales conversation is an amazing conversation
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
it's done from a place of curiosity.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason, just to give everybody a little background, Heidi recently came into my summer sessions group for coaches and talked about strengths and using their strengths from the Gallup Strengths Finder to improve sales or understand their sales processes better. And it was so much fun and just made me feel like there are so many times where we take an assessment or we do a quiz or we learn our human design or whatever the thing is that's happening lately. And then we know it and then we do nothing with it, which is pretty much what I would have said about how I learned about my own strengths and then never really utilize them, even though when I know a high school graduate, that is the gift I give them. I give them the book. And so they can go learn their strengths. And I say, if you want to talk about it, let me know.
I love
So
that.
I liked it enough to think that it matters, but not to apply it to any specific process in my life. So,
Hmm.
how did you get to the point where you're like, I'm going to take these and run them through sales and help people? Like, when did this come about?
Oh my goodness. Well, a lot of our problems as business owners, we try to solve our own problems first, and then we're like, "Oh my goodness, I think I'm onto something here." And so that my problem was I was attracting a version of the same client with similar strengths as mine, basically I was going to say a carbon copy of me, but like very similarly strengthened as me. And I realized while I loved these people and we had great conversations and they made some progress, there wasn't as much progress happening as I would have liked. And instead of saying, it's me, I'm defective and defaulting, and, there's a problem here with me, I realized, at the same time I was going through the whole strengths assessment with a mentor of mine and, um, realized the correlation. And I thought, I really need to test this theory out. And so that's how it was born. I realized like if I am having trouble because I'm attracting mostly people like me, how can I use my StrengthsFinder top 5 to for marketing language for in sales, delivery, um, in prospecting, in qualifying people. And so now I just use it with everyone and show them how to leverage it for their sales and for their business model.
Right. I love it because
Yeah.
when you were in the group, it sort of like reorganized my understanding of my history with sales, kind of like when everything like falls into place and like, oh, this all makes so much sense. And even how, because one of my top 5 is woo, even how there was a time period where like people were buying everything that I sold. And that started to feel scary to me. And I ended up with some clients that weren't a great fit. So I think I pulled back because I was like, I don't want everybody in my business. And that
Yeah.
definitely, then I took a dip. And then it's how do you come back into relationship with the powers that we do have and using them
Mhm.
the way that serves the most people, including ourselves.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah. I mean, when I looked at your strengths mix and saw, well, and heard that you had woo, I was like, wow, that is a, every strength has its benefits and its power. But I look at woo and I'm like, that's such an amazing strength to have if
The
you're a
fun
business
one.
owner,
Right. Yeah.
winning others over. So,
Yeah. So what is it that you're excited about lately? I know you've mentioned like 5 phases of stalled business growth. Can we talk about this? Because I think
yeah.
the more language we have to understand a problem, the better we're able to find ourselves in it.
Right. Well, I realized, here's another problem. I have ideation in my top five, and
Okay.
so I'm, just generating ideas and thoughts. And one of the ideas that I've come to is recognizing the journey. So someone who's in business and has sort of hit that stalled place where growth is not happening and are pulling their hair out, there's sort of a typical process that you go through. It does not feel typical when you're going through it. It feels,
Right. Yeah.
incredibly frustrating. And I have called it the stalled business growth cycle.
Hmm.
And there are 5 different phases in this cycle. So let me walk you through that really quickly.
I
Feel
love it.
free to hit me with questions as we go.
Okay.
So the first phase is momentum. So, and this is really coming from the stage of business that my clients tend to be at, which is, they've surpassed the 100K mark. They have a signature service or a group offer in place. So lots of momentum there, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Milestones are being hit. And yeah, they just have a nice, strong foundation happening. That's
Hmm.
phase one. Phase two is where stalled growth starts to happen. And here's a sign of stalled growth. You're hitting a plateau. You start to notice that the clients that you're bringing on board are having issues. Maybe they're defaulting, maybe they're having contract issues, maybe they're not engaging in the way that you'd like, maybe they're not showing up
Hmm.
for the work. And so naturally, what happens to the business owner is like, I'm not selling anymore. Not consciously.
Hmm. That energetic
Often,
close sign goes up.
yes,
Yeah.
very much so. And so that is troubling. And because it's not so much in your face, then the momentum of that starts to build. And so I'm playing around with phase 3 and 4, which is recognition and reflection.
Hmm.
So reflection is really about acknowledging, okay, I think I'm in a funk.
Hmm.
Things are feeling really wonky. Um, and the other realization that happens in this reflection place is the business owner starts to go, I think I've really evolved and things have really changed, and the people that I'm talking to in my audience no longer excite me.
Hmm.
And what does that mean for my business? I've built this audience. Typically, the people I work with are able to build an audience fairly, a sizable, sustainable audience, but they don't want to talk to them anymore. They're not happy. The clients they're generating from that audience are not working for them anymore. So that's a pretty troubling place to be.
And so
And
these are
then,
people with like one-on-one and group coaching.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So regardless of um, which door the client comes in, they may have a great client come in and then 3, 4, 5, whatever ones that are just not really doing it for them.
Hmm. Right.
Okay, so then the recognition phase. So this is where they realize, I think I've outgrown my ideal client, the person that I set out to help. I think I've outgrown them.
Hmm.
And there's this realization about, okay, like I was saying, I need to evolve. Oh, am I getting my phases mixed up here? Yes, I am. So you've already
This
gone
is
through
3.
the I need to evolve. what I think happens here is people, instead of realizing I need to start talking to a new audience, I need to generate fresh energy, they continue to market to the same old ideal client,
Hmm.
right? Because
So they
change is
have it, they have
hard.
a knowing, and then is it, I mean, I would assume it's from these external things that we hear, like you have to have the same niche, you have to talk to the same people. Like, yeah,
Yeah, and I think it's scary. And I feel like this you're very much in a place of the dark night of the soul, quite honestly,
yeah.
right? Because money's not rolling in,
Oh yes.
things
I
have
mean, I've
stalled,
been through these phases more than once, to be
right?
honest. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the honesty in that. And so I think instead of like, some people, their automatic feeling is like, I'm gonna burn it all down. And
Yeah.
some people do,
Yep.
right?
Hmm. I may have.
Yes, yes. And then, but other people are like in a bit of a, deer caught in the headlights place where they're like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing, just keep on the treadmill.
Right.
And that can really suck people down. That's not a really great place to be in. So we don't want people to stay there for very long, but inevitably sometimes that can happen.
Yeah.
So let's get out of that place because that does not feel very good.
Right. Yes. Next
But
phase.
it's important to recognize, big sign of that is like, I'm doing all this marketing, I'm meeting, I'm doing the same things that I've always done in my business, but I'm not seeing results. I'm
Hmm.
not seeing sales, I'm not seeing new clients. And so then the fifth phase really, ideally clients are working with me in phase 3 and 4. And so I'm helping them walk through that, and um, they're not stuck there. But phase 5 is transformation, adjusting to, I've evolved, my audience has evolved. I can now, instead of feeling stuck, I now feel energized. I have long term goals. I'm open to innovating.
Hmm.
And you start taking calculated risks again, and it
Hmm.
feels great. And you're back in the seat of power,
Right.
right?
Yeah. This makes a ton of sense because if you think about who a coach is and how they got into it, it was like, and I heard somebody describe it recently as like kind of that new love feeling, like in a new
Yes.
relationship, and it's intoxicating, and like it's like
Right.
change and transformation and all that coachy goodness.
Yes.
And when you get into a thing and then you get all bogged down with marketing and niches and doing it all perfectly and revenue generation, and you want to evolve, though. We have to keep evolving because it's who we are. It's what brought us to it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's just so easy to get stuck.
Totally.
I
Especially,
mean, money is on the line here.
right. Yeah. And I like, from my personal point of view, it's like I'm the primary breadwinner. We're building a new home. I'm like, I can't change things. Like, I have to do the quote unquote responsible thing. But the thing that I've always done is change.
Mm, the
Yeah.
tension between that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm responsible, and, for my business to grow, I need to change and take risks. And
And
yeah.
evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for someone listening and they're like, oh my God, I'm in 3 and 4.
Mm,
I think what comes up too is like there's shame for people around the whole idea of outgrowing your ideal client. Like, and I don't,
mm.
we're all evolving. Our ideal clients outgrow us too. I think this happens on
Yes.
both sides of the street. So
Yes.
how do you think about that whole concept?
The outgrowing part of it?
Yeah, like how do you help people look at their own growth not as
Mm,
a negative to the people who they're surrounded by right now?
yeah. Quite frankly, at this stage, my clients are so desperate, feels like the wrong word, but kind of desperate to see through the fog and the funk. And so this is where I talk to them about strengths and their Enneagram type. Because
Uh,
here's one thing I need to add into my phases, um, is in all of the turmoil, what we do naturally is start to doubt everything we know to be true about our talents and our gifts
mm-hmm.
and what makes us so powerful, right?
Right.
And so I get to help them plug back into, okay, as you were building your business, you had to wear all of the hats and you started to lose some of those key strengths that make you unique and amazing
Mm-hmm.
and that make you love your work. Like, let's get you plugged back into that.
Yeah.
Check in, does your business model line up with your strengths? Or, which often happens, is people start, you know, getting overdoing their strengths.
Mm.
I'm thinking about a client who is in the health coaching space, and she had a split. Like when I look at somebody's top five, I look at them as in percentages. And she had 40% in executing and 40 in relationship building.
Mm.
And what was happening is she was spending a lot of time and energy in the relationship building domain, and her boundaries were getting weak. She was over giving. She was just really taking the relational part and just leaning in so hard, thinking that she was giving value.
Mm-hmm.
When actually, when she's in her executing, which is a very, for her, not for everyone in executing, but for her in executing, it's very diagnostic.
Oh, which they
So,
need
as a
to.
health coach, it's really powerful. You're probably helping your clients leverage so much, health and healing when you can help them diagnose and get to the problem.
Right.
And so for her, in her sales energy is diagnostic, delivery is relationship building,
Oh,
right?
interesting. I would think that's backwards.
Yeah. For her, it's
Mm-hmm.
important that it goes that way. Not everybody.
Yeah, yeah. This is why I think that word balance is like kind of terrible unless we attach the word your to it or my,
Yes.
because
Yes.
like how do we can't balance everybody the same way. We can't have the same expectations, and that goes for us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point.
Right. So
Yeah.
our lives can look terribly unbalanced to other people and feel incredibly balanced to ourselves.
1000%.
Yeah. Okay.
Love
Cool.
it. Yeah.
What, like, do you want to share, like, where are you in this cycle? Are you in this cycle right now?
Oh.
Do you want to share? You don't have to.
Yeah, where am I in the cycle right now? I feel like I'm in major like creation energy. I am going after a new ideal client. And
Yeah.
so, that feels exciting and
Yeah.
daunting at the same time. And I don't feel like I'm in the murky, dark night of the soul place,
Uh-huh.
which is great. I feel like I'm on the other side and I have a really strong sense for, you know, what I need to do here and how I can help established business owners um, who are going through this. And, for a long time, to be completely honest, I feel like truly, when I came out of high school, I thought, I want to be a guidance counselor. That's what I want to do. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like for a myriad of reasons that we probably don't have time for today, I ran away from that. And I had lots of good reason to run away from it.
Hmm.
And I feel like this work is bringing me back there,
Oh, yeah, it is.
right? Which is kind
Yeah,
of amazing.
it is amazing. Well,
Yeah,
and
for
when we're
me.
18, we don't even know what exists. So you saw the thing that looked similar to who you were, and that was it.
Well, there were doors that were closed, that I had closed and that were at the time, back in what was that? Those are late mid 90s. Like there were doors that were definitely closed for me to make that happen. And I definitely wasn't ready.
Right. Yeah,
You
that makes
know,
sense.
now
Hmm.
that I'm 51, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like a lot has happened.
Yeah.
So,
I think too, like, I don't know that way back when I was willing, like, even now, I'm claiming more loudly, like, I'm not here to have a big vision. I'm not here to create a thing. I'm not here
mm,
to, like, I'm here to come alongside of, and I've known that forever. But to say that in the world where we really value people with a big idea or the big startup or the founder culture, like that whole thing. And I'm like, I don't really have any of that in me. But what I do have is I can go with any of those people and make the journey better and more graceful.
yeah. Mm,
But it's kind of, it took me a while to be like, can I say that? Is that even valuable?
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, my goodness, that's I have chills just, like sitting in that with you. It's pretty powerful. And I mean, when I think of your Enneagram type, which I won't out you, um, I mean, there's stigma with every type, but yeah, there's some serious movers and shakers with your type
Hmm.
who aren't necessarily massive visioners, whatever. Um, but they're helping people in really amazing ways.
Yes.
That can be
So
said
good.
about any type, but
Yeah. True. True. Yeah.
yeah. So I just
Okay.
tend to attract the people who are really good at gathering a lot of people around them.
That's cool. I
Yeah, and
love that
that's
there are people like that.
what's that?
I was just saying, I love that there are people like that. I wasn't identifying as being one of those
Uh,
people. That's funny.
yeah, I mean, you're definitely a gatherer of people.
Oh, that's true. Yes. If you know me, I will keep you forever. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do we go from here? Is there anything else that's important for you to share about this new thing you're talking about? Or is there anything else that's just like been fun lately?
Hmm. Been fun lately. I mean, oh goodness. I am so like I'm digging I'm digging back into my like history, and I've been having fun just listening to some like 80s, biopic type stuff. That's been
Yeah,
my jam as of
that's
late.
awesome.
But it must be this like all of this fresh energy, and
Hmm.
you know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
fun.
It's just kind of cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, can I ask you a few questions about
Yeah.
remarkability?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. I'm curious for you what feels in your life like kind of the everyday remarkable that you have access to or you created.
Oh my goodness. Mm. You know, I it's so simple and yet it brings me massive amounts of joy, which is I get to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I get to create, you know, how many clients I want to create. I get to right now, so I live in Canada and we have 6 months of winter.
Yeah.
More like, I don't know, it feels like eight, but so the summer is like just this amazing time. And I love being able to spend as much time as I want out on my back deck in the quiet,
Mm-hmm.
thinking and planning and doing my work.
I love it.
Um, yeah. And back when my first career, I was a floral designer. I was stuck in some pretty intense, hard, laborious, like physically intense work.
Mm-hmm.
And so this just feels like such a delight
Right. I feel
and
like that's when you know
remarkable.
you're doing it right. Is like when it feels like you're cheating just to have the life you have.
Exactly. It feels like I'm cheating. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. That's fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
I know.
Oh, that's great. Is there anything that's like, you know, I always think about the word remarkable and people, it's funny and it's sort of a funny word, but it's like most of the time when I talk to anybody, it's always these little mundane things that make
Mm,
everything fun and remarkable. But is there a
mhm.
big thing? Is there a big thing that you're going after or that you've created?
Big thing. Oh gosh. Big thing that I'm gonna walk away from this and be like, that's it.
Okay.
That's the thing. On the off the top of my head, I can't think of a big thing.
It's okay.
Um, but yeah, I will tell you, celebrating my wins is a
Yeah,
place I have work to do. And so
me
that's why it's
too.
not super easy for me to access
Yeah.
quick,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yep. I understand. I'm constantly reminding people or inviting them to celebrate things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing stuff. We're doing hard stuff. We're being
totally.
consistent. We're showing up, keeping
Yes.
people alive. Like, I think just keeping a human body alive, our own, keeping it well rested enough and fed, and it's a big job.
Truth.
Yeah. All right.
Love it.
Well, thank you for being here.
What a pleasure.
Yeah, super fun. We're going to put your contact info in the show notes so you guys can go find Heidi on the Instagram or wherever she tells us to send you.
I would love that.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Total pleasure.